Well, I don't know. You've probably noticed that you actually don't see very many gun-related videos. It's harder to find them, but that's kind of, YouTube's doing. They really, what they do. I don't need a dog here. Okay, let's say if you upload a gun-related video, they won't monetize it for like a couple, 3 days. And by then, of course, most of your subscribers have seen it already. So it doesn't pay, so a lot of people really don't even bother. Also, they tend to shuffle them kind of in a back corner where nobody ever sees them. They're able to do that. It's not a problem for them. It's just an attitude that they have, which is unfortunate because my interest lies in some of these older guns, and you don't see much of that anymore. They just kind of shut it down, or any of the gun stuff really. But I was kind of communicating with a guy who got a gun that intrigued me. And it's a small channel, and there again, the video will be seen by very few people. But I want to send you over there. It's Northern Woodsman. No, I don't need a dog. Really don't need a dog. He got a Stevens lever action. Now, I always vaguely knew that Stevens at one time made some lever actions, but I have never seen one that I know of. That's where it gets a little weird because, okay, this is my Marlin, my 4570. Now, that Stevens, he did a short video on it after he got it. The Stevens, at first glance, it really looks like a Marlin. The big difference is in the action. Otherwise, they're what is it? The model is a 425. At least the one he got. They have different models, basically the same gun, just different levels of decoration. Like the wood, the checkering, and all that. There's just different levels of that. But they were all chambered in Remington cartridges, rimless. There was a 25, a 30, a 32, and a 35. Well, he's got the 32. Now, I think these things are pretty damn rare. And I don't know why, it's always a puzzle as to why some guns make it, some guns don't. Because at first glance, it is a pretty impressive gun. Now, the reason I have my Savage out here is because the action on that Stevens is very similar to the action on the Savage. In that, like on a Marlin, when you open the lever, the bolt goes back, pushes the hammer back. Actually, that's where if you get resistance in your lever, that's really where it's coming from. It's got to push that hammer. Otherwise they would actually lever a lot easier. Well, on that Stevens, the action is very similar to a Savage, whereas the bolt drops down and goes back. The difference, so it locks up like that, which is a good solid way of locking. But they look pretty like this. It's just that bolt travels down. And they have a hammer. That's why externally they look just like this. But what they have to have, there's got to be some kind of a link inside that pushes that hammer independently of the bolt. There must be a bar in there. A very intriguing gun, though. I'd love to run across one. I'm lucky in what I find, but I think that might be out of my range of luck. I don't think there's that many of them around. They only made them for a few years. But they look to be a really excellent gun. But by looking at them, you could think that they were a Marlin, except for that it's a flat block in here that does that drop down and go back. Very interesting, though. But it was the one he's got the Stevens 425 in the 32. They look externally, like I said, they look like a Marlin, except, they're round barreled, and they all have the short mag tube. They look a lot like my 336As, except that they have a straight stock on all of them, which is really what I prefer. So like I say, that gun is right up my alley. But I thought, well, like I say, there's a big lack of firearm related videos, but he put up a short one on there, so you can go and check him out. It's Northern Woodsman. Take a look at that video. Because like I said, I hadn't actually even seen a picture of one. I just vaguely knew that they had made them at one time. But I'd be curious as to why they didn't catch on, if they got bought out by somebody else, or what the deal was, but that they just dropped them, because they have the advantages of both of these guns. But evidently they didn't sell, or like I say, they got bought out or something happened. But very interesting firearm. But like I say, YouTube, you see very little firearm stuff anymore, which is really unfortunate, because there's nothing radical about these old guns. But in YouTube's mind, if there's guns, shuffler in the back corner. But take a look at that video. I thought that was interesting. And he's got a 351 Winchester too, so the man has taste anyway. But that method of locking up, where it pops up, so you get that whole, it's odd to see that feature in a hammer gun. But I'll have to keep my eyes open, but I got doubts about that. I mean, I'm a lucky man, but not that lucky.